Hello everyone, happy Monday. Welcome to my third Monday Mardle. Apologies, I've not been great at these, but actually I've been really busy on the other Mondays. Quite busy today as well, it must be said, but thanks for tuning in. I'll be with you for the next, probably not pushing 10 minutes, but thought I'd just maybe tee up a few things left over from the weekend, looking ahead as well, and again endeavour to try and do some sort of preview maybe on Friday, although we've started doing the Q&A over at The Athletic, my weekly Q&A. Last Friday, we did it on the Friday, we did it on the Friday afternoon after the press conference, so that worked out quite well, so we might do that maybe rather than Wednesday, but I can't tell you where I am. It's quite, if you can guess, fair play. Isn't it a lovely room though? It's beautiful. And it's making it look really sunny outside, whereas actually pretty grey. But there we go. So I hope the light isn't too distracting. I tell you what, I might even come down and sit in this lovely corner. There we go. Look, I've got tree lights in the background, so that isn't that nice? There we go, beautifully adjusted. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you've seen my piece from the game on Saturday. Not really touching on the game, to be honest. It was all about the before and after, but I really enjoyed putting it together. You can catch that over The Athletic. I think for such a memorable game, it was just fascinating to speak to people about their opinions before the game, and then the hindsight is great because a lot of the time you hear people talk about hindsight as they talk about their hindsight, not having spoken about it and then reflecting on it with hindsight. So it's really it was a good read. I enjoyed writing it especially. So I hope if you've caught it, you've enjoyed it too. A couple of bits that maybe I didn't quite pick up in my video report, which of course I did immediately after the game on Saturday, which is always different to cover all the points you want to. Obviously it tends to be quite raw as well and things like that. But someone said I didn't mention Emi Buendia, which of course was fairly ridiculous. And I think it's worth noting that that was his best performance. Although I did mention him because I said that, didn't I? Actually, that's true. He was very good, but it really bodes well that we saw him play that well in that game. And I think if he kicks on and we see the Emi Buendia that I kind of hoped we would see from the off over the coming weeks, then it's not going to take long. I mean, it literally took one game for everyone to go, blimey, was he £1.5 million? And I mean, he wasn't in the end because Norwich got promoted, and I think they stuck a fair chunk of extra money on top of that. I think he probably ended up being about £6 million in the end. But that's not really the point, is it? The point that is that Emi Buendia at top level at his age now, so he's obviously got loads of improving still to do. He can be a really top player at this level, and the fact that he's got so many assists and hasn't really even hit second gear yet, certainly not before Saturday, is kind of a mouth-watering prospect. And again, I hope you feel that I've done Todd Cantwell's performances justice as well, because Love Sport Radio, I think, got in touch with me on Friday, and I did a bit for them just before the press conference, and the guy, Kieran, I think it was, who was the DJ who was presenter, who was interviewing me, was going down a line of trying to compare Todd with James Maddison, and I have to be honest, I mean, I was obviously answering the questions nicely, but I was just kind of thinking, this is a stretch. And I'm not going to go back on that now, but I have to say, you're just watching Todd and the way he's playing, the way he's driving forward. You can see a lot of the ways when Norwich pressed quite well. You know, Todd was involved in those, and part of why I'm in this strange place that isn't Norwich is based around Todd and just how capable he is, I think, and that's really exciting. So I really hope he keeps going, because I don't think anyone other than Todd and probably those who really know him would have been predicting this kind of impact going into the Premier League season. So fair play to you, Todd. Keep it going. I'm not for one moment assuming he watches this, by the way. What other mentions? By the way, there is some fantastic stats work by NCFC Numbers on Twitter. You'll know, I'm sure, Steve Sanders from some of the stuff I used to do with him over at Pinken. He is a fine specimen of a statistician. He does some great work, and he came out with a couple of crackers just around the win over Manchester City. Well, loads of them, and I'm not going to rattle them all off, but just interesting. I thought the point that Norwich have won their first game back after the international break in each of the last 6 seasons, and of course last season that victory was crucial because it really began something quite unexpected. Also interesting that Norwich have only won one of the 13 years of the game leading into that first international break. So it does seem to be quite a watershed moment, bearing in mind Norwich had some pretty difficult seasons in that time as well, of course, but it's a bizarre one, and it stretches back far beyond Daniel Farke's reign. A word on Daniel Farke: as I said, my piece on The Athletic from Saturday is up, and please give it a read. It is revealed in there that Saturday's win was actually the 50th under Daniel Farke in all competitions, which is quite a nice way to mark it. I have to say, I had a couple of things planned for it when it would happen, and I honestly didn't really bank on it happening on Saturday. So there we go. It kind of caught me out a little bit there, and that's a lesson for me. Never doubt them, as Tom Parsley also said on Saturday. But yeah, that's a win. I think it's from 109 games off the top of my head. Again, in all competitions, by my records, which is a win percentage of 45.9, which sounds pretty healthy. I did just then think, well, I wonder what Pep Guardiola's is at Manchester City. It's in excess of 75%. Now, if you then consider that that's not many defeats, what a remarkable way for Daniel Farke to mark his 50th game. His 50th victory for Norwich City. And also, I did tweet this, really pleased that Ian Wright kind of flagged up how well Norwich did in terms of their pressing. And Norwich got some good praise. Well, I mean, they've been all over the place. They were twice on TalkSport that I heard this morning, and I think Delia and Michael were on there as well, although I haven't actually heard that. So I think Norwich fans and fans of parochial teams, I hate to say that, but in view of a national picture, that's what Norwich are, because they're out on the fringes and all the reasons us Norwich people probably rile at, but also can see it on the map and in people's attitudes. I think you're hungry to see national journalists sort of pick up on what's going on and enjoy and be proud of how Norwich are doing things and understand it. And what I would say is I think a lot of the coverage from the weekend has definitely done that in a lot of instances, and if they haven't, it's probably because they're crap. So there we go. What else have I got written on here? Well, yeah, of course, so it's Burnley next, isn't it? So hopefully the injuries won't be too bad. They might clear up to a degree, but I think we're probably only really looking at Moritz Leitner in terms of that. I don't know how bad Mario Vrancic's calf was, but if he's pulled it, I would still think that's going to be another week or two. So we obviously know that Tim Krul, Ben Godfrey and Grant Hanley should be fine come the weekend, as long as nothing untoward happens in the week. And Patrick Roberts will be back, of course, because he'll be back and eligible. So that back and legible? He'll be available. So that's good, but obviously the other six will probably still be out and be out for a little while. I think the soonest any of those guys were going to come back were sort of Max Aarons and Tom Tribal, and it was kind of looking like the other side of the next international break in October. So we might be waiting a little bit longer for those guys to come back. What else have I written here? I've written it on a napkin, and I can't really read my writing, which is the sort of quality you're going to get on the Mardles on a Monday. But there we go. Yeah, I think that's I now understand what I have written there. So yes, 6 players will probably still be out, but I imagine you feel a lot better about it because you've seen the players who've stepped in. You've seen how well they've done. Sam Byram, Ibrahim Amadou, both playing superbly well on Saturday, and of course now it's basically a question of can you prove that you can do it on a wet, probably Saturday afternoon at Burnley. It'll be a very different challenge, but one we'll be very keen to see how Norwich deal with it. It'll be very interesting indeed. The only other thing I was going to flag up was a hat tip to Clive Tilsley on the TalkSport, getting a lot of mentions TalkSport in this, that won't normally happen, on their commentary when he came up with the pun Pookie Blinder, which is the first time I'd heard that one. Fair play, Clive. I doff my cap, probably my Peaky Blinders cap, no razor blades, to your punnage. Well done. If someone's already come up with that long before Clive, fair play to you too. I'd love to know who that is so I can equally doth tip my hateth. The last thing I've written on here says NCFC. I have absolutely no idea what that is, but I'm sure it's brilliant. So where does it leave me? Yes, thank you for watching. That's a good thing. You haven't seen my video verdict from Saturday, you can do that. That will be, that is there already on the channel. That's if you're watching on YouTube, of course. Subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook, thanks. Give the thingy a like. And follow the page. You might be watching this on Instagram, in which case, thanks. I hope you're following and enjoy it and send comments, because I like reading them all. I'm just probably going to avoid them if you abuse me, but that's all right. We're thick skin in these parts. And I think that is everything. Thanks for your time. Have a cracking week. Not exactly sure what my week is going to entail at the moment, if I'm brutally honest, but I know for a fact that I might get to have breakfast with a famous Norwich City fan, and I will be writing a column tonight that will be going live probably Wednesday first thing. I've already got a good idea for that. Probably reflecting on some of the elements that pleased me most about Saturday and throwing it into a gloriously open window. And I think we'll do a Q&A post-presser on Friday at, let's say, 4 p.m. Yeah, all right, 4 p.m. That'll be over at the Athletic. If you haven't subscribed, do it, because the quality of content is phenomenal. I'm certainly not talking about my stuff there. I'm talking about everyone else's, and then you can read my stuff as well if you want, Norwich City fix. If you haven't done it yet, then the discount codes, the last couple are over, but there is a free trial if you want to sign up to that. There'll be a link in the descriptions and notes and stuff with this. And make sure you get on board, because I think it's a great place to read about football if you're so inclined. If you're not, that's fine. Everyone is free to make their own decisions, and I'm glad you're watching this video so you can hear me say that. And I hope I get to interact and engage with you, however that comes, over the rest of this phenomenal football season, where Norwich already have 6 points and 2 victories. You could brutally say they only need 8 more to stay up. But if they keep playing like this, I think they'll get there in good time. We shall see. That, of course, is the challenge, isn't it? We'll see how they get on at Turf Moor. But before then, enjoy the week. I will see you on the Friday with the Q&A that afternoon, and probably beforehand and all sorts as well. I hope you enjoyed the background. Look, it's, I don't know, if you ever come here, it's lovely. And I will see you later in the week. Enjoy.